attitude.
Famudem, mete na for nothing. We all na mortal man and we get for life. So let we left Congo Sahel and for bad that we come it's for the day. So if we sabi wasan, we go eat na big man the pan. For catch big man and I can't done. No today. You go get after, now where you big man and you get. So let we left Congo Sahel and for bad that we come in there.
Salomon, if we want make Salon, we for change we attitude. Salomon, if we want make Salon, we for change we attitude.
Famudem, mete na for nothing. We all na mortal man and we get for life. So let we left Congo Sahel and for bad that we come it's for the day. So if we sabi wasan, we go eat na big man the pan. For catch big man and I can't done. No today. You go get after, now where you big man and you get. So let we left Congo Sahel and for bad that we come in there.
Salomon, if we want make Salon, we for change we attitude. Salomon, if we want make Salon, we for change we attitude.
This is a vital update about coronavirus.
To help save lives, stay at home. Anyone can spread coronavirus. You should now only go out when absolutely necessary for food, medicine, work or exercise. Always try to stay 2 meters apart. Do not meet others outside your household, even friends and family.
Stay home. Protect the NHS. Save lives.
If you're having credit problems, I feel bad for you, son. 1,000 problems, but a car rank 1. Wills for sure got me back in the car. Leasing with my credit, I was like, man, forget it. Who would have thought I'd be accepted and more? But now I got the keys, I feel so pleased. All types of cars, Fiats, Minis, Renaults, you know, boom, boom, let's go. Wills for sure, car leasing for every credit score.
Malakuti de so.
In a sense, but it makes him a sin worldwide.
Oh yeah, pray for me, Mama, pray for me. I'm in the jungle, I want to make money. Oh yeah, pray for me, Papa, pray for me. Oh no, I guide my footsteps in this journey. Oh yeah, pray for me. Pray, 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 pray. Oh Lord, bless me as I am taking this journey. The road to success not be something we funny. Sometimes you go day level, sometimes you go stormy. Lord, I depend on you to prepare a table before me. Baba, take me away from this wilderness. Protect me from the things them where you be say them they give man stress. This year my life goes sweet, I'm tired with this bitterness. I must make this money, I beg you Baba, make you give access. Oh yeah, pray for me, Mama, pray for me. I'm in the jungle, I want to make money. Oh yeah, pray for me, Papa, pray for me. Oh no, I guide my footsteps in this journey. Oh yeah, pray for me. Pray, 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 pray. As I am going out, Baba, please bless my hustle. Give me the courage to move on, strengthen my muscle. As you they see me so, it don't tell where I struggle. My own portion of blessing, I beg make you give me a double. Baba, take me away from this wilderness. Protect me from the things them where you be say that they give man stress. This year my life goes sweet, I'm tired with this bitterness. I must make this money, I beg you Baba, make you give access. Oh yeah, pray for me, Mama, pray for me. I'm in the jungle, I want to make money. Oh yeah, pray for me, Papa, pray for me. Oh no, I guide my footsteps in this journey. Oh yeah, pray for me. Pray, 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 pray. Oh yeah, pray for me. Pray, 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 pray. Oh Lord, bless me as I am taking this journey. The road to success not be something we funny. Sometimes you go day level, sometimes you go stormy. Lord, I depend on you to prepare a table before me. Baba, take me away from this wilderness. Protect me from the things them where you be say that they give man stress. This year my life goes sweet, I'm tired with this bitterness. I must make this money, I beg you Baba, make you give access. Oh yeah, pray for me, Mama, pray for me. I'm in the jungle, I want to make money. Oh yeah, pray for me, Papa, pray for me. Oh no, I guide my footsteps in this journey. Oh yeah, pray for me. Pray, 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 pray,
Ultrasound on the mix.
Shake up your body, yeah. Belly body, yeah. Then I mean they make all man they glad, yeah.
baby, where don't broke me at. Where don't make me feel like say I'm not man enough. I no get nothing for offer. So all me party will look down on me. Where don't make me feel like say my life no go become something, yeah. And they walked away. All the people will promise for help me. They say come office today, tomorrow next tomorrow. The story not just the same, but I refuse to give up. I kept on hoping, I kept believing. Now everything don't change. Me brother see me life now, it don't better now. Famous and the name now. You know go feed say you don't know me now. Anytime I like a fly to Dubai now. Hey, with me baby now. Anything I like that they buy now. Turn up, cause me I let it turn down. I let it run down. I'm looking forward to a brighter future. I'm moving ahead. I never stop for nothing. I'm looking forward to a brighter future. I'm moving ahead. I never stop for nothing.
I never tried it. Shake up your body, yeah. Let me the make all man the glad, yeah. Shake up your body to the beat, yeah.
For this one where we there, people go come inside you life. Some go come for stay, and some go come and go. The reason why someone go stay, now only God know. The reason why someone go. Now God himself know. Me brother, me I don't go regret. If you decide for go, it's happened for a reason. Now only God know. What you get for no say, it's never the end. Cause the downfall of a man no, not to the end of in life. And then they give up, and then they turn down. Every day and they turn up. See me color, it pop up. Famous na the name now. You know go say, you don't know me now. Now me son is scatter the party now. Even you baby they calling now. Cause now me they make all man get ready now. You next on the beats now. The people just they craze, just they dance now. Hey, they just they dance now. They just they ready now. I'm looking forward to a brighter future. I'm moving ahead. I never stop for nothing. I'm looking forward to a brighter future. I'm moving ahead. I never stop for nothing. I'm looking forward to a brighter future. I'm moving ahead. I never stop for nothing.
I never tried it. I never tried it. Shake up your body, yeah.
Famous.
Tell your body, yeah. Let me the make all man the glad, yeah. I never tried it. Shake up your body to the beat, yeah.
Famous.
Shake up your body to the beat, yeah.
Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, mama, papa, brother, and sister them. Una thank you. Una good evening. Una thank you for log on and listen to today's program. Today, as you all know, me na Isatta Sisay-Jalloh from the Health Show live here on Diaspora Voices. Still marching on, still strolling on, and so on and so forth. Today, I try for talk this program in Creole. And excuse me, I'm going to mix sound with English because this really not for we. We na the Sierra Leone community, na the UK diaspora. It's about we and wetin they go through right now, and how best, for give a little bit of insight of how things they don't change, why things they don't change, and then how we can able adjust and cope with wetin they go on. These changes then we suddenly don't come because of this big sick here we get in this country now, what they call coronavirus. Coronavirus, as we all know, a virus we started a few months ago. We can cause a lot of problem where they affect the respiratory system. They go through your nose, your mouth, sometimes the eyes, and then goes down the throat, and then bang, it go into the lungs. It go become quite destructive there for some people, and then after that, it then go to different organs and start affecting different organs, which sometimes leads to death. The good news is a lot of people actually they suffer from the mild symptoms, and they're able to isolate and cope with them symptoms at home until they feel a bit better. The sad news is still some people then still not able to survive. They die. So far we've got, I'm not checked today waiting the government say, but from yesterday we were just under 19,000 deaths in the UK. So and when this thing starts, then project 20,000 deaths. So we know they're too far from the projection, and as we all know, Matt Hancock say we're right at the peak right now. So fingers crossed, things then not begin mellow down a little bit. There's a glimpse of hope. Hopefully things go settle down and calm down, and we go begin see a slope going down. However, that no means say you for stop for do the things where they don't advise you for do. You should still continue doing, adhering to all the government guidelines. Stay at home if you don't need for come out. Only come out if you're not essential worker. Only come out for go get shopping, hopefully once or probably once or twice a week. Only come out for do one exercise a day. Only come out for go seek medical attention. So please, those are the 4 government guidelines. When you're there out, try and practice social distancing. When you get symptoms, self-isolate, do social isolation. If somebody now in a family and household get symptoms, una self therefore isolate for 14 days. And just listen, do regular hand washing more than you usually do, just for try for see how we can get rid of this virus. We know say this virus is able to survive for a good 72 hours, when not 3 days on a hard surface. So please, that is why it's important for constantly they clean, and also they do regular hand washing with and antiseptics and so on and so forth. So obviously when this virus come, it bring a lot of chaos with them. Chaos so much that a lot of the guidelines and policies and procedures where we now the health sector and the social care sector they abide by, the government be therefore go straight to parliament and go and put a quick legislation into place where they call the Coronavirus Act. The reason being, a lot of then guidelines there will be they follow. Of course, they were for normal circumstances, but of course, where this virus come, we begin do so many chaotic acts and also killing people. They be careful put something in place. We go look at a lot of them different acts that will already get in place. For example, like the Social Care Act, the Carers Act, and so on and so forth. They be careful look at them, their act, and see how best they go override and overrule some of the clauses of those acts to ensure that things are done as quickly as possible. I want to give you just example of some of their acts there. Before we go on, when I make, we end up for talk about what they talk about today, which is death in our community. But I think it's very important for we understand first who side them things that they come out, because it's easy for fake news, hearsay, go about and then create a lot of tension and scaremongering for everybody, where Nadano they try for minimize. So this Care Act, what you do, it look at various sectors. First of all, the first thing where the Care Act look at, it look at the number of nurses and other health care professionals, them how we go build up the number of nurses and other health care professionals. So one of the things where he do is he look at the Nursing and Midwifery Act, Order way now 2001. It also look at the Health Professionals Order 2001, and then he quickly expand them, and some of them he collapse them. So one of the things we don't notice, if you know anybody when a student nurse or even a medical student, you they find out say way very close to qualification, as in then they qualify this sometime this year, waiting they don't offer them as an option, not so by force, but waiting this act don't do is it don't create that flexibility there where, so if let's say we get 3 months placement, we don't left for let you qualify. Now that they say you don't need for go do that placement, however they want let you go work like a band 4, and then they pay you. So when you work as a band 4 for 3 months, when neither you placement time we don't left, then go pay you, and at the same time when you don't done you they qualify as a nurse, and then they give you PIN number. And such is also in place for medical practitioners in Wales and in Scotland and so on and so forth. So that's the other thing they look at. The other thing we then look at as well, so they look at that for nurses and other healthcare professionals. They look at that for medical practitioners in Wales, then they look at that for medical practitioners in Scotland as well. And then obviously they look at other things such as things to do with money, how we go benefit from them, national insurance contributions, and so on and so forth. And then HMRC, and how then go look at business improvements, developments, and so on as well. So they look at all of that, and then they move on to things like inquest, how we go get for do inquest where somebody die, basically inquest now where somebody die, where the death not be expected, how they go through that now, waiting at the changes, how vaccination and immunization, how the schools then go manage, how child care providers then go manage, how then go sort out statutory sick pay, how then go look at with pensions, how then go look at protection of public health, and so on. And then one thing we'll go down here in the news as well, how they go about for just appeal for emergency volunteers. So those were all things that were looked at in these acts. So they're not just kind of more bio they make then sit down, they do stuff. So now I make sometimes possibly where you they criticize waiting the government they do or whatever. It's always good for stop and think, waiting that they do behind the scene. Always try for look at the bigger picture rather than just the point finger, they blame them. Because it's easy for you when you sit down in your living room, you then on Facebook, you they argue, you they make comments, you they make suggestions. Ask yourself if they put you in that position there right now as Professor Whitty, if you go what you go do. Ask yourself if they put you in the situation of Matt Hancock, what you go do. I'm not saying they're perfect. I know they try for can't support them in any way, but I just they say sometimes I think we're just too quick to jump to conclusions where we don't really know what they go on behind the scene. All them document there where they read from, so not a document they were hidden. They're all there on the website. If you go directgov.uk, any legislation, any act, any guideline, any information about all what in and non they do, it did it. So take your time and read and enlighten yourself and give yourself the right information before you they go here say here, there say there, and then put yourself more into anxiety. Because the thing about this corona, some people they're not on the actual virus, they kill them. Now the bad news them, the fake news them, the poor news them, where they fly from one place to another. Which also takes me to the fact that when somebody sends something to you on social media or especially WhatsApp, think first before you share them. Really think. I mean, How many videos we go share where somebody they make ginger, lemongrass, and garlic? If ginger, lemongrass, and garlic, I'm not saying I know they help. Oh, don't get me wrong. They have their medicinal purposes as well as herbs and natural stuff. However, if they no more alone be they help, why you na feel say all the number of people then we don't die not before for survive? So as much as they do help, a lot of the people that way they don't help, not all people that way end up in a hospital. Now me go challenge any of them people and they say that symptoms were probably not as bad. We make they not end up in a hospital. They not get serious respiratory symptoms. We means they need oxygen therapy. When I make them not end up in a hospital. So as much as they help them, good luck and God well done. But they'll be careful the kind of message will they pass on, because we don't want to forget the wrong message through. So obviously the government look at emergency registration, how the chemists that they do, how will they get with pharmacy, how prescribing they go on. Then look at how they for change how the social workers that they work. Then look at how they change how people they for take leave, who that allow for take leave, who that not allow for take leave. Then look at how the Mental Health Act, how they go sort them out, how they go arrange them. Yesterday there was something on Sky News about how mentally ill people and they cope with this. There is an example of a schizophrenic patient where it get suspected symptoms, so they need for quarantine and for 14 days. Now, you're not able to understand that. It really confused. It's like getting more and more anxious and agitated and more paranoid. So, the mental health nurses as well, they struggle try for articulate that, and all of a sudden, equipment when they're not used for where they self get for where I'm for able support the client there. So there has been a lots of changes. So lots of changes about mental health and all the different sections in terms of how you go withhold somebody from their free will and all of that, and how you go detain them and so on and so forth. Then you get how we go sort out death, how we go manage death now with community, some of the guidelines where they go put and waiting and not go put, and so on and so forth. How things go be changed, how will they register death, how will they register stillbirth, how will they register birth, because still people that they born, still people that they do other things, still people that they do waiting and supposed for do, that they try for keep things as normal as possible, as well trying to balance it with safety. So a lot of things have changed, not because they're just happy to change things, it's because things have to change, because we are living in an unprecedented time, an unprecedented time that needs a lot of attention to detail, unprecedented times where things are constantly evolving, we're changing. I remember the first week, like the first week in March, we dey go meeting. 2 hours later, all waiting until we na the first meeting, then call we back, then say we na override all that. We na forget about what we na tell una 2 hours ago. We dey carry again new one. Then that was what we were doing constantly. Tell God thank you, things are settling down a bit now. So we tell God thank you for that. I just go through some comments quick, then we go can hit on the topic now where we need for hit on. I be just want for giving a little bit of background so long now understand waiting they go on now the country, especially with the government and how they go about things, especially for NHS England and public health. These are two different entities there that get for work together. So you get NHS England, when our National Health Service, and then you get Public Health England, where their own priority now the health of the public, the general health and well-being of the public. And then of course you got the Health and Safety Executive, where then self they can't say, then self therefore can't do their own thing. And then within the NHS, you get the infection control, you know, where then self, so you get all the different sectors. They are trying to get together to make sure things are working fine for us from a health and social care perspective. And hello, Mr. Weber, lovely to see you. Hello, Miss B. Hello, Mariatu, T-Boys Production, Fatma Tayila, Auntie Harriet, Betsy, Faye, Tamba, Aisha, Tutu Balloons, how are you? Yamata, Hannah Conte, KK, oh, my grandma Mozai, Asatu, and good evening to you all. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. People are saying true. I guess it's the what I'm talking about. Mayatu Siddiq said it's a very difficult time for them and us all, you know. And most of them are myths. Oh yes, most of them are myths. The government is doing their best. Let us be patient with them. Then get Bush Radio without no base. Let's see. Ali Maki Kone, hello, how are you? Yes, thank you, Mariatu. Thank you so much for putting that link. This is what people need to be doing. Spread the right information. When you get the right information, you'll be okay. You'll find you'll be a lot calmer. You know, but then I also feel anxious and worried. People say to some of us, why are you so calm? Why are you going about as if nothing is wrong? Oh, it's because we've got the right information. I am listening to the right information and the correct information. I'm not busy. Anybody who is in my WhatsApp, who has my contact, I never, pre or now COVID, I do not send rubbish messages. If they're sent to me, it stops with me. If it's something I want to challenge, I will challenge it. If it's in a group or if it's sent individually, I will challenge it, because I think sometimes, especially us at this time, healthcare professionals, we should really think strongly before we pass on the next message. We should think about the authenticity of that message. Have you looked into it? Have you confirmed it? Have you checked it? Is it a message that is authentic? Or is it just hearsay? Just because I don't pass on to you, you say one pass again to you, and things them. Just like these stupid things where they say, I'm praying for you. If you tell them to 20 people, you say go get all the blessing. Really? Just pray 20 times. You don't need to send it to 20 people. So I think we need to be careful. And Aisha Ishmael said the medical team all over the world are doing a fantastic job. May God Almighty bless them and protect them all. We pray God will eradicate this virus from this world. Amen, amen, amen. You know, so let us really think about it. Think about it. Tell them there are too much fake news. Get your facts right. Exactly. Get your facts right. Information governance. Stop it. Stop. You're making the situation worse. The thing is, one thing like you always say to people, you don't know the state of that person's mind that you're sending that fake news to. You really don't know. You truly don't know. We all know, and we've started realizing that a lot of what we see on Facebook, on Instagram and Twitter is people putting up fronts. But behind there, sometimes they are broken people. People pretend all is bright and beautiful when they're on social media. But behind closed doors, they're broken people. Just like it's now been revealed with the level of domestic violence and child abuse, that people pretend that they have good and harmonious relationship, which of course they didn't. Now they're stuck indoors. It's creating more problems, of course, because there's no distraction. There's no avoidance strategy, you know. So now you're in each other's face. So what happens? You get so irritated by one another that the next thing, violence kicks in. So let us stop pretending. Let us focus on each other. Let's think about what we're doing. Really, really think about it. So that takes me on to what we're supposed to be talking about today. the deaths in our community. As we all know, in the last 4 weeks at least, I think we've lost over 30 Sierra Leoneans. Over 30 Sierra Leoneans within such a short space of time. Now, if you divide that, let's say 4 weeks divided by 30, it means we are losing at least an average of 1 person a day. So 1 death a day. Now, coincidentally, some of these deaths are not coronavirus related, but some of them are. A majority of them are. A few are not. It's just a coincidence that they've happened at this time. However, what has changed with these deaths we are facing, this unprecedented experience of death that we're facing? What has changed is because on the 31st of March, Public Health England decided with NHS England that they were going to change the guidelines on funeral, how you manage funerals, how we manage death, and how we deal with it all. And they just didn't wake up one morning and say, oh, we're going to do this. They consulted with the funeral directors. They consulted with the faith leaders. So whether you be Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, you name it, Jewish, they consulted with all of them, and also with a number of people who are bereaved to see how best to deal with this current situation. At the same time, such a very serious situation, such a very emotional situation, to see how best to deal with it, and at the same time practice health and safety and protect the community. So guidelines were put in place wherein the first thing they decided was not more than 10 people should attend a funeral. Now, this kind of varies from one area to another. Some areas you're only allowed to go to the service. Some areas you're not even allowed to go to the service. That is why in most of the white Caucasian population, what they're doing now a lot of cremation. They are doing a lot of cremation. However, we community, that is something that is still alien to us, to being cremated. Now, cremation has its advantages. Cremation also has its disadvantages. But to be honest with you, nobody don't go, we don't come back, we say that fire we burn me, I feel am. So it's difficult to know whether the advantages and disadvantages are at our own benefits, we were left behind, or not. Because with cremation, it basically means you have less issues to deal with, and also it's cheaper, and all, because you not get for pay for grave. We all know say a grave costs approximately £4,000 to £5,000, just the grave on its own. In some boroughs, it varies from one council to another. And then of course, you not get for worry about upkeeping that grave. You not get for worry about for go spend another £2,000-3,000 a year later for a headstone, and so on and so forth. And now with cremation as well, the ash, you can use them, then get company the way they turn some of the ash for you into jewelry where you go keep on yourself in person, or some people they will just keep the ash in an urn when at the container where they keep them, then put another house, so they always feel close to that person there, because maybe they're not able to go na burying ground for go visit that person there or not. So that is why a lot of the white Caucasians now, then they choose cremation, especially so now at this time. There's been a real uptake of cremation in this time with this virus business. So how has these changes in how we deal with our death affected us? Well, some of the changes is the fact that we all know with culture, with tradition, where somebody die, oh, this person don't die, this person don't die. We go sit down at that person there in people their house. We go cry burying, we go keep comping, we go joke, we go laugh, we cry small, we joke, we laugh, we cook boku boku, we eat, people then bring food, people then bring money then towards the funeral, and so on and so forth. Now, in the last 4 weeks, that has changed completely. That has been stopped. And how is that affecting us? I really want to make una join in and be interactive and make una comments and how this don't affect people them. For example, I know say now we community now 2 main religion we get. We get Christianity, we get Islam. Now with the Christians, the church business na problem now. We all know so we go local church when are the most popular, when are they most times with the church with people that will die. But now you go church them, but now only few people. Maximum 10. Maximum 10 people then are they forgo church that person day. So can you imagine where we come up from extended family? Even the families alone are more than 10. Uda you they choose for go, uda not they go. You see the problem then they? Uda go, uda not they go. What if now a daddy die? The daddy get 4 picking them. Then he get a wife. So then 4 picking and the wife now 5 already. What if the daddy gets sister and brother and cousin? The wife self get a young brother or paddy or cousin. By the time you don't count there, don't pass 10. Uda go, uda no go. Uda go feel offended, uda no go feel offended. So these are some of the things we get for the look at and they think about at this time, you know, and being that selfless person and say, you know what, Lord we go, Lord we just go no more. Whatever, whosoever go, and how looking at the different ways we'll go say goodbye rather than just where we go church that person day and then we carry and go na cemetery we go say goodbye, you know. And then for the Muslims as well, mosque as well. Now mosque not open. Now janaza is being done at the funeral director's place. Then one day, depending on the cemetery, whether they carry the person, you up to 5 people might be able to attend, or sometimes 10. It depends on how flexible they are that day, or some cemetery you not able to go. I know say some this weekend we pass we'll go do some funerals. Some cemetery like the one at Ilford that they allow people for go. The other one na Sidcup, they not seem for they allow people for go. That they try for put people off. So it's getting more and more difficult, and we're not used to that. We're not used to that. It was really difficult where we go for go do janaza and we brought away one part we brought them, because interestingly that day they will go not to be in one grain as Sierra Leonean day. We meet over 20 they body the leader, like how we call on our salon. And out of that 20 day, about 5 now we Sierra Leone brothers and sisters. We interestingly will not be personally know each other, and then also the way the funeral directors that be the do is they give everybody a time slot. When them person they account, they pull on your own body, then pina on make quick janaza. Then after that, the other person quick janaza. All the things, you know, janaza not a thing where they last for long, but usually when they do janaza in a mosque, it's an opportunity for let them pray for you, pray for the dead, pray for the one they don't left behind, pray. Sometimes they go read them 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do out them, make them do out them and pray. Read them surah them, because them believe say the more they do that, the angels them they around judgment day and so on and so forth, then go they write and take notes. We're not able to do that now. Quick. The janaza not last 2 minutes safe. It done. So that was very difficult. It was very difficult for all of us, because it was an experience that we've not been faced with before. You know, I know say as Sierra Leoneans, a lot of us don't go through the civil war. A lot of us don't go through the Ebola. A lot of us don't go through Lassa fever. A lot of us don't go through mudslide. But yet still, the fact that we don't kind of a Western world where things are done properly most times, 99% of the time, for the first time, probably after the plague, for the first time, then they had to do such drastic changes, especially to things like burials, So it's been very, very difficult. But one thing I want for rest assured una all, especially those within the Muslim religion, some of the questions that people are faced with, how we go know, we're not able to go bury with person, how we go know Usai in grave day. Well, be rest assured, the funeral directors, they don't take that all into account. So what did they do? Where them go, where them bear, then they take a picture where them go send. So going forward, you go able go now, you go check that grave day and able for go pray Panam and so on and so forth and go visit and so on. So waiting don't change how would they do death now. Well, now if you die in the community before, if somebody die in a house, we'll say that the community, people that they die in a house, a lot of people they don't realize that, but a lot of people that they die in a house. Part of my job what they do, believe it or not, is for facilitate and make sure say people then where one die in a house, die in a house. So a lot of people that they die in a house, apart from people that they die in a nursing home or residential homes and community hospitals and so on. So now waiting on change since this COVID-19 waiting the Corona Act 2020 introduced is before when somebody die in a house, as long as now somebody will be sick, they know say they die, a doctor now for can verify that death day. But now a doctor no need for come. The family can do them, then the doctor go then a phone, they arrange and they. If healthcare professional go there, like district nurse and so community nurse them, they don't train them, they train some of them, they still they go through and get competencies that way them for meet, for let them able do what we call verification of death. So then they verify the death, then they talk to the GP, then the GP in the issue the death certificate. Now that death certificate now you they take for go register the death now your local town hall. Now, of course, before you able go to the town hall, you register and you do them. Now you get for go online and do them because all the town halls they don't close. You do go online, you register the death, you ask. It's good for always, like you always say, it's good practice for ask for as many copies as you can. One copy now about £11.50 or so. So you ask for them, and so you go get them for able send them to the different places that we need for send us until the person get life insurance or you get other insurances or other things that you need for sort out, you need for send out to the solicitors and so on and so forth. So it's important for get extra documents. And then the poster. Now if the person die in a hospital, that is different because in a hospital obviously you get doctors then 24/7, then go verify the death, then go certify again. Before hospital, you get the place where you go, when the person don't die, then go call you for let go take you medical death certificate. Now that they put on a post for you, they don't want to let you go to hospital again unnecessarily. And this, it no matter whether the person be get COVID or the person not get COVID, and so things don't change no more now. So then when they post that again, you take, then you go able to register the death online. Now when you register the death online, if this once you don't do that, then you be able to contact the funeral directors and begin plan you burying. Now of course, if the person die in a house, once the doctor don't confirm say don't die and don't give you the medical death certificate, once the doctor or the nurse don't confirm, you can then call your funeral director for let them can take the person go keep her for you. They're not gonna do anything with them until you care a slip where after we don't register with the town hall, that they give you a special slip where now they can go to the funeral director them. Now then they tell them say it is okay. Now then they give them legal permission for touch that body there and begin do anything to run. So without that sleep, they no dey touch am. They go carry am go, then go keep am in a fridge, but they no go touch am, they no go clean am, they no go wash am, they no go do nothing to am because they no get legal authorization. Say there is no problems here. We're happy with this death. You can go ahead and prepare the body for a funeral. If the person die, if person go to hospital, he did it for less than 24 hours, he die, then get for refer to the coroner. The coroner is basically the pathologist where they go investigate cause of death. If person die now or suddenly, they not be expected for die, he not be sick. Again, then get for call coroner. And most times the coroner works with the police. So now it makes sometimes you go see police go come, ambulance go come, and so on and so forth. So they need for investigate for find out why, what's are the cause of death. Because if you don't get a cause of death, how you go register the death, how they go issue a death certificate. So that is the reason why. Sometimes, like especially people who are sick, even if somebody is sick now, somebody will get lots of health problem. If they can't go to hospital, then die less than 24 hours. They still get for refer to the coroner. But most times, the coroner not go do autopsy. The coroner go just go through the person medical record. It go call the GP. It go call maybe 1 or 2 consultants who don't involve in that person they care, and then it go sort them out. Then they will be fine with it. So those are the things that happens. So there's been lots and lots of changes where don't happen so far because of waiting don't happen with this corona business. So all I can say to people them, on a lot be a lot patient. It is very difficult for us now. We don't use the things that we we're battling right now with tradition and cultural values as well as with religious values as well. Because for example, with them patient where they die of coronavirus, the funeral directors have therefore prepared them separately and differently from somebody where not a coronavirus kill them. So all those things are making it more and more difficult. So all the things that where we don't use for do, we not a nation we believe in touching. We not a nation we believe in hugging. We not a nation we believe in expressing with emotions and love and so on by being together. All that day, it's kind of restricted at the moment. So please, all I'm saying to everybody, as much as sometimes we feel compelled that we have to do it, please remember the safety of others. Please remember the safety of others, because we don't use that now. We don't use for just we person die now for going at the host. So we get for at this moment we get for kind of stop and check yourself and realize say, oh no, we know where we're going at that host day. And it feels bad. We feel bad, we feel guilt because we feel say, hey, we don't let this person for mourn by themselves. But no, that person themselves, as much as it's painful for them, they do understand that now so the situation they right now, we get for be careful. Let me just go through some comments as well. Well, so somebody said that is a very good insight about cremation. Tell our community. Thank you. We're running away from it, but it's becoming a better option day in, day out. I have to say, I personally think the government should keep it this way. Oh yes, it needs to be kept this way because I think we are not listening. The reality is we community, we not listen, we trangayes, we really trangayes. We really truly trangayes. We they get information, so on and so forth. Say people they go keep comping. They lock the mots. Now then small keep comping place them. And no one call particular place them. Then they go keep comping. It is wrong because the thing about this virus, a lot of people that they carry them were asymptomatic. When they say somebody asymptomatic is somebody when they show no symptoms. So they know they get the temperature, they know they get the cough, they know they feel feverish, they know they get the aches and pains, they know they feel breathless. But they carry the virus. Their immune system might be so strong that is how them body able for cope with them. But what about you? where you not know say self sometimes you get underlying health problem, then you go mix with that person there, you get them. Somebody say mass grave burial is allowed in Islam as long as requisite rituals are followed strictly. That is, individual rights are duly accorded. Okay, that's very informative. Thank you, Ahmed. But I just want to reassure you, at the moment, they have not done any mass burial in the UK. UK has not done any mass burial, you know. And then Zaisa said, your nuclear family should obviously take priority. Yes, my sister, that's how it should be. But as you know, our community, Antigo Komane, I say, na my brother, waiting make na you for go bury, me not for go. Sister go Komane, na me pikin, waiting make na you for go bury, me not for go, so on and so forth. That is what sometimes creates a lot of problem and stuff. Betty B says, it really saddens me as I have lost people close to me and I was unable to pay my last respect. And this was due to the 10 people guideline that we should follow in these trying times. Oh yes, it is. But Betty, you have to look at other ways to deal with your loss. You have to look at other ways to say goodbye. I think, yes, that was the norm, but with everything, when things like this happen, the norm becomes abnormal. We have to look at new norms and how we're going to deal with it for the foreseeable future, you know. So I'm really, really sorry for your loss, and we'll look at different ways. We'll talk about grief by the end of this program, and to see how best you can cope and recognize some of the symptoms and how best you can seek help. Amin Haja, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy on us all. And Mariatu said, I think it is more peaceful and respectable for the loss. Yeah. The money you would have spent to dress and cook for the funeral, donate to the family. Indeed. Again, that's another way to pay your respect. You know, I will come on to that, Zai, because I think that's very important. Please talk to our people about life insurance and funeral expenses cover. Zai, you're just taking the things out of my mouth. I need to know who you are, because these, you know, I'm just setting the scene and gradually bringing myself to that bit at the end of it. And Alhaji says, Wallahi, now our funerals have turned into something else. They are now paying out for COVID related deaths. Yeah, they are. Zai said, she had a talk, I think, last week in February. It's sad, but in Islam, we are returning to how things were done at the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be unto him. Hannah said, one main thing is that within our community, when we have a bereavement, it's time to support each other. A time when people have the opportunity to settle grievances and build back relationships when meeting together. Well, I think what they need to do actually, Hannah, is going one step backwards and not wait for a death to happen to settle your grievances. Try and get over your grievances before death, because it might be that the person who died is the one you had grievances with and you're not able to settle it. In Islam, my producer might correct me if I'm wrong, and I will stand corrected. They say in Islam, you can only ask for forgiveness when someone is alive. When they're dead, they cannot forgive you. You can forgive them. So if somebody dies, you can say, I forgive you for everything you've done to me, but you cannot ask them to forgive you. So that is why when we're still alive, let's look at our issues. Let's look at our differences. Let's try and address our problems and differences, and get rid of and all these grievances and hate and whatever it is. Mariatu said, not to coronavirus, so me people them. Not to the coronavirus. What is that? I can't read the rest of what's happening. Okay, this not then they finalize the final cause of death. Okay. Mabinti Conte says, I forwarded you a photo on your WhatsApp. The photo sent by the funeral director is that of our Uncle Fode. Yes, it is. That's what they're doing. They take a picture of the grave and send it. So later you can go. Our sister Mabinti and Famata, who they're twins, they recently lost their uncle, and it wasn't to corona, but it was just that he died during this, unprecedented time. So rules have to be followed as if everybody is suspected or not. Alhaji said, true, my hubby was in Peckham yesterday for vital things. He came home very, very cross with our people. No social distancing, etc. All drinking, socializing, etc. Exactly. I mean, this is the thing. So when I hear people going on in social media, oh, it's the BAME people that are being infected with the virus because it's the BAME people that are being forced to work. Nobody's forcing anybody to go do 12-hour shifts 7 days a week. Nobody. You will not see the white Caucasian doing more than 3 long days. But the reality is, some of our people will do back-to-back 3 long days. Well, not even 3, 4, 5, 6 long days. For what? For what? Make the money and lose your life? Make the money and lose your life? Or earn less and have a quality of life? So these are some of the things we have to think about. And one of the things we've also that has been brought to our attention in our community, people are having symptoms and ignoring them and saying, oh, na flu. Me na flu, I be get to not to corona. At this time, because the symptoms are so much similar to flu, it is better to be safe than be sure. So if you have any of those 4 symptoms, sit down house. Nobody know they tell you for go work. If you call any manager, you tell them, say, oh, I've been coughing all night. Oh, I had temperature. Oh, I'm feeling breathless. Then they tell you, let's stay home. Then they tell you, let's stay home and self-isolate for good 7 days. And the rest of your family or household should isolate for 14 days. But some of we, if they left somebody sick na us, we'll get some of their symptoms, then grab them, go work. Is it fair? Are you being fair to the public? Are you being fair to those people that you're going to come across or encounter? Is it really being fair? So we really got to think of that. Me self now, I go every week. I go to Peckham. 2 weeks ago, I went and I told someone off because they were all, like Alhaji say, no social distancing, no protective equipment. They were standing there as if it was just another day. Where I talk, the other person give me back talk, say, do ya? Now one time person they die. So myself now fling and say, now how you they die, now matter. If you don't drown, or if you don't attempt drowning, then you go know how it feels like when they die of COVID. Because some people then they don't really know waiting at the seriousness of this illness and how it affect people them, especially the one them way it they kill. Even the one that we know they kill. The people that wait, some of them they get 90% of the symptoms. Where God just they help them say they're respiratory wise they're kind of okay where they did not us. Go let you go ask any of them. We really don't battle with this COVID na us. How did they feel? How after the 4-5 days where they don't recover, the increasing fatigue where they face, the weakness, the tiredness, the loss of taste, the loss of smell, all the challenges they're faced with. Think about these things before you take your life and other people's life on seriously. So it's very, very important we maintain some of these things. We seriously need to maintain them because we're saying this, we're stressing it because we know we're entering the month of Ramadan. Tomorrow Ramadan starts, inshallah. And we know it is a very difficult time because we're used to, I sitting here, I'm a Muslim. I'm used to going to the mosque almost every day, cook, take it, and we break fast as a family, as a community. We pray Taraweeh as a community. But that is not going to happen, because for some of us, like myself, that is what motivates us. That is what encourages us to meet the needs of the religion. But unfortunately, this year, that's not going to happen. And people should not even think about it, because again, that's one thing we're hearing. People considering just going into one person's house to go break fast. Oh, na inside host, nobody no go no say naya. Stop. God did not ask you to do that. God did not say if you pray on your own in your house, you're not going to have the same blessing. So please think about that. Think about that. And my producer and DJ Litu is going to talk more about this on his Monday program coming, inshallah. Because I think we need to. We're hearing these little whispers. Because as you know, with the Sierra Leone UK COVID-19 rapid response team, at the moment we're trying to reach out to people who are Muslim, who are vulnerable, or children who are at home, who are fasting, so that we can feed them. And then we're hearing these little stories about people planning on meeting for iftar, planning on meeting for Taraweeh. It is wrong. It is totally wrong. It is a selfish act. It is a total selfish act, and God does not like that. Allah does not like that at all. So you're not doing it to gain blessing. You're actually being destructive to others, and that's a sin. That's a sin. So, and someone says, yeah, make amends whilst we can when people are still alive. Today is the last day for the self-employed to declare their 2018 income to HMRC if they want self-employment follow. So again, that's another good thing. Thank you, Zai Zai. Again, our sister Zai has said, if you're self-employed and today is your last day, you've still got till midnight, crack on and do it. Don't forget, please don't forget. Don't forget. Mariatu, you've sorted yours. Thank you. Well done, darling. No rest. Yes, for material things indeed. I didn't mind January 31st. Good. Well done there. I hope you get the support you need. Yep, they are in denial, my dear. They true are, but why pause you there in denial? Where you sort you on denial, where you there in denial, put yourself no more at risk. Not go put other people at risk. That is what we're saying. Our people are attaching a taboo to that does not exist with the virus. We are still a long way away from reality. Please educate them. But you have some managers that are calling on them, harassing them to go to work. That needs to be looked at. I think it's because, you see, anything in this Harriet, sometimes they say be careful what you do, because you might not know when it catches up on you. Some people, if you're someone who is notorious for reporting to be sick all the time, if you're someone who is crying wolf all the time, when it comes to the time when you really need it, they don't believe you. It's just like people who lie all the time. When you lie all the time, when it's time for you to be truthful, people don't believe you. People don't believe you that you're being honest and truthful. This is what's happening. Yeah, black people treat everything with spirituality first and logic second. Eid Mubarak, one and all. Eid Mubarak, my darling sister. Yep, it changes people forever. I was told by someone who is still recovering. It does. It does. And people, and we don't even know what are the internal damages, how it's affected any of their organs, even though they've survived it. So please, let us stay at home. Let us stay at home and do things properly. Let us be kind, not just to ourselves, but to other people as well, because it's very, very important. And as I said, these restrictions could also be the reason why ethnic minorities are dying more. Religion and extended family play a big role in our lives. Sure, it does. It's not, yes, sure it does. We do everything as a community, and that is why it's becoming more and more difficult for us as we go into the weeks and weeks of lockdown and restriction. And I'm sure the rest of the year is not going to be the same. Even if lockdown is minimized, we are still not going to be the same. We're still not going to be able to do a lot of the things we usually do as a community. So it's very important for us to be aware of that and be mindful and think about how we deal with things and look at different approaches and how best we can support one another. They'll be scared to phone in sick as they've exhausted the system. Indeed, but one thing I have to remind you, if you're working in the health or social care sector, especially the health, this sickness is not counted. As long as you're sick because you have suspected COVID symptoms, it is not counted within your sickness allocation. But also now, tests are available, so you can be tested. I know quite a lot of people who have been tested and they've come out negative or positive, and some have got their antibodies. So it's very, very important for us to know about all these things and think about them and see how best it's going. And like I said, a lot of faith leaders were consulted. Their advice was taken on board, and for example, the professor of public health England said, losing a loved one is a sad and distressing experience, and funerals are important and personal during this very difficult time for the country. Our aim is to protect the most vulnerable from the spread of the virus. We are encouraging all mourners to practice social distancing at funerals for the time being. This sadly means limiting the number of mourners to immediate household and closest family members. And then another professor of public health who is the director of public health for Hertfordshire also said, it is natural to wish to be with people we love and have lost in death. It may be felt as an additional cruelty that such physical closeness, while providing solace for our loss, may spread the virus still further. Only skilled and sensitive local care can help console people through such compound pain and loss. Mohammed Omar, who is the board of member for the Garden of Peace, which we do use a lot, us Muslims, said, we welcome the new guidance from Public Health England and would like to reiterate that it is essential that we maintain social distancing at all times, including at funerals. We should also severely curtail the numbers who attend the funerals so as to ensure that staff working at burial sites and others are protected. If circumstances dictate, then we should contemplate, as hard as it may seem, no attendees at funeral time. It is also welcoming to note that we can perform our ritual wash as long as we observe the necessary precautions of wearing the right PPE and follow the process included in these guidelines. It is hoped that there will be uniformity now in the whole system so that there is no confusion and conflicting reports on the risk of handling a COVID-19 deceased person. Then from the board of the Jewish community says it is a central issue for the Jewish community that we honor and respect our departed loved ones while protecting the living. Our community introduced new strictures on handling the deceased in order to do this immediately after the start of COVID-19 outbreak. This thorough and considerate guidance from government supports the Jewish community's safeguarding actions to date, and we are grateful to the government for their continued efforts to preserve lives and community life. So as you see, my brothers and sisters, you've heard me read from different faith leaders, Christians, Muslims, Jewish. The others also follow suit. Hindus, the Buddhists, and so on and so forth, the croakers and all of that. So please, let us take heed of the advice. Let us try and be helpful. Let us try and be supportive. Let us try and be caring. Which then brings me to this thing, this big elephant in the room. Funeral costs. Funeral costs. The big elephant in the room is called funeral cost. Funeral cost, and how can we prepare ourselves? Now, anybody who thinks they're not going to die, don't give me thumbs up. But if you know you're going to die, I want you to give me a love heart or thumbs up. If you know you're going to die, give me thumbs up. Everybody will die. Death is inevitable. It's interesting. I said if people know they're going to die, they didn't give me thumbs up. Death is inevitable. Now, we're rather fortunate for us in the Western world, especially in the diaspora. There are lots of things in place that we can put in place to make it easy for our loved ones that are left behind when we die. When we die, there's so many things we can put in place before we die. So when we die, the people we leave behind are well taken care of. They have less stress. They have more pride and less embarrassment. Now, our community is very good at misappropriateness and not prioritizing things as we should. We rather buy a £250 designer shoes than pay £40 a month for life insurance or critical illness protection, or even be bothered to make a will when we are a single parent with children of underage. These are the things we need to think about. These are the things we need to consider. We need to think about what we do and put in place. So if we become seriously ill and we cannot work, we've got money to fall back on, and that is called critical illness insurance. We need to think about the fact that if we die, there'll be money aside to pay for our funeral. There'll be money aside to look after our loved ones. 90% of these people who died during the last 4 weeks did not know they were going to die, did not expect to die. I will say to you, 70% of those people who died had nothing in place. Nothing in place. Now, the community, we don't mind coming together to support. We don't mind coming together to raise funds. We don't mind coming together to do our best. However, we need to learn lessons from bad experiences. We need to learn lessons. We're opening forum after forum to raise funds for funerals. For us who are contributing to that other person's funeral, you need to stop and ask yourself, have I prepared myself for my own funeral? Have I got plans in place? Nobody knows say if you go take life insurance, that means you dey die tomorrow. Nobody. And nobody knows say because you don't take insurance, you don't pay for them for 5 years, you for stop for pay for them. Or you don't take critical illness insurance, because you don't pay for them for 5 years, you not sick, God not make you sick, you don't stop for pay for retire. Most of these insurances, except if now one way you take for the whole family, they know they cost you past £200. And they start as little as £20, £30. For month, not for a week, for month. For food alone, what they eat with African food stuff. If una pass 2 na os, Una dey spend more than 30 pounds a week. So why should we not think about some of these things and put them in place? We don't go. Where you go, you don't go. But it's the effect and the impact it has on the people who are left behind. The fact that you dey deprive them of grieving for you properly. The fact that you know they allow them for release the pain and remember you through love and find the meaning why you don't die. The fact that all they will be focused on is how they pull money for bury this person. Whilst you'll have a wardrobe full of clothes, while you have shoe racks full of shoes. Come on. This is time for us to wake up. This is time for us to have a reality check. Let us put things in place. It is never too late. Let us put things in place. There is no point putting it off. Because you and I, we don't know. God doesn't tell you when you're going to die. He doesn't give you notice. The only people who might get an inkling is people who have life-threatening illnesses. Because as long as you've had a life-threatening illness, whether you survive it or not, it should be time for you to start thinking, to say, you know what, let me put my house in order. I talk about this all the time. I come on this program and I talk about it. I do conferences and I talk about it. Some people choose to listen and it benefits them. Others choose not to listen and they think if you don't listen, you don't hear it, it's not going to happen. It will happen. Let us think about our loved ones we're leaving behind. Let us think of the stress we're leaving them with. Please, let us do these things so when we die, we will be mourned properly. Our loved ones will go through the 5 stages of grief properly. They'll go through the fact that they're in denial that you've actually died. They'll go through the fact that they're angry that you've died. They'll go through the fact that they will bargain with whether it's their religious beliefs or their traditional and cultural beliefs, or they'll bargain in their mind that actually this is why they died, or let me make sense of it, and so on and so forth. They'll go through the fact that of feeling depressed that you're no more, and they'll go through the fact of accepting that death is also a way of life. But if they've got all this process to go through, but it's obstructed by the fact that they need to think about how they're going to bury you, they start thinking, should we bury this person as a Christian or should we bury them as a Muslim, and so on and so forth. Let us think about these things. Let us think about these things. It is very, very, very important. Very important. Before you buy the next pair of shoes or clothes or Brazilian wig where they cost 200, 300 pounds, me sister them. Una go take life insurance. Before you go make the most glamorous wedding or pikin in 1 year birthday, before you make birthday for you pikin na a hall where will cost you thousands and thousands of pounds, go take life insurance where will cost you about 50 pounds. Because guess what? When you die, that birthday not going to mean anything to that pikin day. So let us think about these things. Please, let us think carefully, sensibly, and make sure we do things that we are supposed to do. You know. Somebody, let me just read some comments. We really have to change our perception to COVID-19. Yes, COVID-19 will be around for a while. That is if we don't follow the guidelines. Yep. Death is inevitable. Not accepting it. So I just said, tell them, like, seriously, Isatta, can you by any chance put a number of the people we have lost in the Sierra Leone community? J. Mansley, I think we've lost at least 10. Between 10 to 20 people, J. Mansley, I think we've lost. So I don't know the actual figure, but between 10 to 20 people we've lost. And that's very much for us, such a small community. My sister Sado, putting our house in order. Yes, everybody needs to put their house in order. Life insurance is cheaper the younger you get it. Indeed, the younger you get it, when you don't have any health problems. We all know as we age, little sickness here and there pops up. So, but if you take your life insurance when you're under 40 or even under 50, the chances of you not having any degenerative illnesses is higher. When I mean degenerative, there are some illnesses or health issues, whether you like it or not, as long as it's within your bloodline, as you get old, you get it. For example, things like arthritis, you will get it. You know, Co-op and other funeral directors do very good funeral expenses cover to pay for the cost of funerals. Indeed, and you pay little by little, rather than an average cost of a funeral. If you're Christian, you're looking about £7,000 to £8,000. That's an average, and that's like as simple as possible, between £6,000 to £8,000. As a Muslim, you're looking at 3,999. £3,999. So they are costly. Funerals are costly, very, very costly. Betty saying pressure, stress, contact, embarrassing. Hello JP, how are you? And then Lola Brazilian. Indeed, Zai, people are buying those bundles. To make the one wig, it costs about £200 to £300. Sometimes even £400. People are making those wigs. You go to people's house, they've got 4 or 5 of those wigs, and then something happens. They don't have nothing. They don't have a cent. We have to stop living on borrowed times. We have to stop living above our means. We have to stop and think. These days, there was a day, I think last week, I'd done the laundry and I was folding the things and putting them in their respective places. I opened my wardrobe and I said, hey God, you know, all them clothes there, why we don't plan for them cutting them, because you don't go so fine cutting them na salon, you don't run carry them. All them clothes there will be don't plan, we don't sew them, we don't plan for bluff this week, this summer. Go there lunch on sale, go there barbecue, go there party. Look there now, they don't know. Look there, they don't. That just tells you that material things are material things. Let's think carefully. You know, yes, Haja. Some Muslims who have been going to church are buried in an Islam way because it's cheaper. Indeed, because it's cheaper. You know, there is knowledge deficit in the African community about the importance of having insurance. The continent of Africa needs education about the value and significance of having both life and health insurance. That is what we're doing. That is why we have all these platforms being to. And we will just continue. We will endeavor to go on and on and on and on until at least, even after today, if one person goes and sign up, I give praise to God. It means I've made a difference to one family. You know, somebody says, plus the closure and coloring, all will cost more. Some of us think your wife or husband will kill you when they know you have the life insurance. People wise up and take at least one to cover your funeral expenses. Indeed, take something that would help. COVID-19 give you chance for bluff. You know, give me chance for bluff, oh, my sister. COVID-19 no don't give you chance for bluff at all. We don't pack them. That just tells us that the material things are nothing. Material things are nothing. God just don't tell me that. So let us do the things that are something, that means something, you know. So please, my brothers and sisters, take heed of some of these advice. None of us are perfect. None of us can do it all right all the time. But the most important thing is seek knowledge, be informed so that you can make the right decision. So for all our brothers and sisters, fathers, mothers, uncle, aunties, granddads, and grandparents that we've lost during such a difficult time and unprecedented time, may God give them peace wherever they are, whether they're Christian, whether they're Muslim. May God forgive their sins. May God comfort those who are left behind. May God continue to give them the strength and courage at such a difficult time. It is not easy. It is not easy at all. But seek help. Lots of talking therapy online. You can go online. You can do counseling. You can go online, especially YouTube. You can do something called mindfulness. If you're feeling anxious, if you're having panic attacks, if you're having sleepless nights, especially with all these bombardment of news that are going on. So please, please, please think about all those things and seek help. I'm here if you need me. A text, inbox me, call me. I will always make time. I will always make time for you if you need someone to talk to, if you need a listening ear. And be rest assured, your secret is safe with me. Your sorrow is safe with me. Your anguish is safe with me. Your sadness is safe with me. So thank you so much. May God protect us all. May God make this albalau within our community and the world right now. Let it push them far, 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 far away from us. May it not kill any of our brothers and sisters anymore. So I'm going to leave you all there. But before I do, on behalf of Diaspora Voices, I want to wish all our Muslim brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, uncles and aunties, grandparents and so on, Ramadan Mubarak. May peace be unto all of us. This again, for us Muslims, this is a time for reflection. This is a time to think about our purpose in life and how we prepare ourselves for the hereafter. So help us, support us by being mindful what you post to your Muslim brothers and sisters, by being mindful what you post on social media, because some things might actually cause them to break their fast. So be mindful, be sensitive, be caring, be cautious, be loving, be compassionate. And last but not the least, as you know, the Sierra Leone UK COVID-19, we're still going on. We're still delivering food to our vulnerable and shielded. And now that is Ramadan, we're going to be doing 3 deliveries a week. So for our brothers and sisters and other members who are fasting, we'll be doing 3 deliveries in the week. We'll do the one big delivery over the weekend, and then we'll do deliveries Tuesdays and Thursdays as well for those who are fasting. So thank you so much for lending me your ears. May Allah guide and protect us all. May the good Lord bless us all, here and hereafter. Take care. Love you all. Until we see again.
Give thanks to Allah for the moon and the stars. Praise Him all day for what is and what was. Take hold of your iman, don't give in to shaitan. Oh, you who believe, please give thanks to Allah. Allahu Ghafoor, Allahu Rahim, Allahu Yuhibbul Muhsinin. هو خالقنا ورازقنا وهو على كل شيء قدير. Allah is Ghafoor, Allah is Rahim, Allah is the one who loves the Muhsinin. He is our creator, He is our sustainer, and He is the one who has power over all. Give thanks to Allah for the moon and the stars. Praise Him all day for what is and what was. Take hold of your iman, don't give in to shaitan. Oh, you who believe, please give thanks to Allah. Allahu Ghafoor, Allahu Rahim, Allahu Yuhibbul Muhsinin. هو خالقنا ورازقنا وهو على كل شيء قدير. Allah is Ghafoor, Allah is Rahim, Allah is the one who loves the Muhsinin. He is our creator, He is our sustainer, and He is the one who has power over all.
This is a vital update about coronavirus.
To help save lives, stay at home. Anyone can spread coronavirus. You should now only go out when absolutely necessary for food, medicine, work, or exercise. Always try to stay 2 meters apart. Do not meet others outside your household, even friends and family.
Stay home. Protect the NHS. Save lives.